Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews. Don't do unboxings, but we might do a few playthroughs in the near future if you behave yourselves. But today we're going to be talking about an expansion for one of our favourite games of all time. We're going to be talking about Clans of Caledonia Industria, and in this expansion you'll be getting more shit. You'll be getting a board with a train on that you can choo around a track, dropping off deliveries. So remember, if you're new here, then consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. We will see you after this. Bollocks! So, Clans of Caledonia Industria. How'd you play this expansion? So, Clans of Caledonia Industria is a modular expansion for a game that we have been playing for a number of years now, yeah? Kind of a bit weird that, like, this game has had its first expansion after what? When was this game first released? I don't know, 2017 or something like that. So, yeah, they definitely took their time in bringing this out, yeah? But this is a modular expansion. So, some of the stuff that you're going to get inside the box is another box, yeah? You're going to get a bigger box that will hold all the components from the core game and all of the bits from the expansion, yeah? Comes with some fantastic insert trays that hold all of your shit. And yeah, we tossed the original box in the bin because this box is fucking awesome. So some of the other stuff, you get some more map modules, yeah? You get a sideboard with a bunch of railway tracks on it. You get some more port bonus tiles. You get some more scoring tiles. You get what's called an award tile. So it's like an end game scoring thing. So the person who has the most of something will get 12 points or whatever, and then the next person will get a lesser amount of points. You get something called a farmer's market, right? Each player's going to get one of these. They put them on the board somewhere. And if you expand into a space that is neighbouring a farmer's market, you'll be able to trade up all goods for a more lucrative amount of dosh, right? You get an export contract board. In the core game, you didn't get to see what contracts were going to be coming out in the next round, but one of the modules is you can put a board out, you can place the contracts on the board, and these will be the ones that will be available in the next round, yeah? I mean, you could really have done that anyway. You didn't really need a board, yeah, but it's a nice little variant all the same. And you get a solo mode that basically lets you play on your own, yeah, if you ain't got no mates, which I imagine a lot of you will be doing, yeah? So another feature of the map modules is you've got waterfall spaces in there, yeah? This basically splits the tile into three, and this means that the space with a waterfall on it is neighbouring adjacent tiles, even though they might be separated by a river, right? So there are certain things that trigger you being able to have more than one token on the same space here. And in the original game, you couldn't do that, but in this one, your sheep might be able to have babies, and you can have two sheep on one space, right? So the train module works like this. Every player's going to put their train out onto the board at the beginning of the game, and you will see that there are cities on the board, and there are towns on the board, and there's also tunnels on the board, yeah? As an action, you can move your train one or two spaces. You'll see that the cities are locked to you until you can unlock milestones, right? Each of the arch-shaped tiles has got a requirement if you want to unlock it. So you'll have to make a delivery by paying the cost on the delivery token, and then use one of the milestone markers that you will take from the train board by placing it on the relevant milestone that you have unlocked, yeah? And then you'll be able to move to this city. So yeah, you'll be moving your train to a town or a city, paying the cost, and then taking the delivery bonus, which are fucking insane, yeah? Some of them are absolutely mental. I mean, you can trade in like 2 whiskey for like 40 quid, which is probably about the price that you would pay for that now, right? So yeah, you'll get points for completing milestones, you'll get points for taking your milestone markers off board, and obviously you get bonuses for spending resources and making deliveries, right? There's also a bunch of variants in there. You've got the variable start and market price, and you can use the milestones without a full train module, blah, 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 blah. And obviously, like we said, there's a full-blown automata, not a fucking tomato, yeah, but an automata, like a solo variant, which is not that bad, really. As you would also expect, there are a number of new clans. You've got Clan Douglas, which says that each of your merchants can take up to 2 goods of the same type in a single transaction. You have got Clan Fraser, and this acts as a kilt maker, yeah? One of them things that Scottish people say isn't a skirt, but really, we all know it is. You've got Clan Gordon, and this says that your fields have a cost of 15 quid instead of 18 quid to purchase, and you get an extra grain during the production phase. Yes, this is fucking mental, because fields are one of the most expensive factories that you can put out onto the board, yeah, and this makes them a lot cheaper and a lot more lucrative when you use them. And you've also got Clan McFarlane, and this says you start with a river crossing and 2 merchant upgrades, so you're not going to be fucking about trying to get your shipping levels up, right? So that just about covers all the stuff that is in the box, yeah. Like we said, this is the first expansion for Clans of Caledonia, and yeah, it seems like we've been waiting ages for this, but it's here now, and yeah, we'll tell you what we think of it like now. Do we like the Clans of Caledonia Industria expansion? So the first thing that we like about it, and probably the obvious thing about this, is that you get tons and tons of extra stuff in the box, yeah? Not only do you get a box in the box, but you get extra clans, which opens up a wealth of extra strategies for you to comprehend. There are extra port tiles, yeah? These are bonuses that you get if you put a structure neighbouring a port. There's extra scoring tiles, so if that got stale for you, this is going to reinvigorate your interest. And there's the addition of awards, which is going to possibly give you an extra 12 points, which maybe could win the game if you spent half your time having a wank upstairs, yeah? So yeah, every time we see an expansion which gives you more stuff, more variation than there was in the base game, yeah, that's always a good starting point. So the second thing that we like about this is the addition of more map modules, yeah? There was a limitation in the original game where you seemed like you had loads and loads of ways to move the board around, but because you had to match the letters and numbers or whatever in the central lock, that limited the amount of different combinations you could have, yeah? There are, how many fucking boards are there? There's 4 new map modules for you to contend with. Like I said, this adds waterfalls, which gives you even more possibilities in terms of strategy. Keeps the problem of rivers in there, but it also opens them up by having a tile with a waterfall sort of more accessible, yeah? So more map modules gives you more ways to play the game. And I suppose I'm just repeating what I said in the last bit, yeah? But I'm a cheapskate, sue me. So the final thing that we quite like about this expansion is that the train map offers some wild fucking bonuses. I mean, the actual cost of getting these bonuses seems a little bit low at first inspection, yeah? You know, you'd be paying like sort of a loaf of bread and a bit of cheese for a fucking trip to Disneyland Paris, so it seems, yeah? I mean, you can only do one of these each round. Once you have moved your train, you've got to put it on its side and your train becomes exhausted. But if you are in a scrape and you think there's nothing else you do, maybe you could have a look on the train board and see if there's any of those mental bonuses you can get that are going to give you a little bit of an adrenaline boost when dealing with those other Scottish people. What don't we like about Clans of Caledonia Industria? So the first thing that we don't really like about it is that the train map seems a little bit inconsequential to us, yeah? Sacrificing resources that are generally quite tight in the original game seems to be a little bit suicidal. I mean, why would you spend your resources chasing bonuses that may or may not apply to the strategy that you've adopted instead of picking up a contract that's going to get you victory points, yeah? If you do this 5 times, yeah, that's going to be like 10 or more resources that you have thrown down the toilet just to get you a bonus that might help you, but it's going to prevent you from getting points that you could have done had you not done it. And where the cities are locked to you, getting the milestones to unlock them means that this takes time, yeah? So you won't be able to get into the cities to move to get the other delivery bonuses that might be more applicable to your strategy until you've unlocked the milestone, which you may or may not be able to do because you just sacrificed your resources on that board instead of the main board. So it does seem a little bit weird to us that there's a gold mine of opportunities that are kind of at arm's length that seem to hurt your ability to win the game on the other side. So the second thing that we don't really like about this is that every time we played this, the player who won the game didn't actually use the train board at all, yeah? All the players that went over to the train board and tried to get them bonuses ended up falling way behind, sometimes by quite a substantial margin. I mean, one of the games we played of this, it was a little bit tight, but the player who didn't use the train board, me, ended up winning the game, yeah? So, I don't know, the fact that you can win the game without even going there, and this has happened multiple times, means that in the future, probably won't be using the train board ever again. And that begs the question, is it worth setting it up and putting it out if it's not going to be of any benefits here? Probably not. So the final thing that we don't really like about this is that the expansion comes with its own rule book, yeah? The fact that you've got 2 rule books now, you're going to be flicking backwards and forwards in between the 2 rule books, looking for clarifications, looking for the icons, looking to see what all the different things mean, stands in stark contrast to the unification of all the components in one box. It would have been better, in my opinion, for there to have been a unified rulebook as well, with maybe an icon on the bits that are telling you about the expansion content, yeah? But no, they've gone for the separate rulebook, and I found myself picking up the rulebook going, oh, actually, this isn't the rulebook that I wanted. I want the original rulebook. And then I pick up the original rulebook looking for something in Industria, and it's just a pain in the backside. It would have been nice to have had a universal rulebook for this set, and it's not there. So to summarise, is Clans of Caledonia Industria worth your time and bother today and in the future? So we're going to say maybe not. Clans of Caledonia Industria is fine. Extra stuff is always welcome. And this expansion definitely reignited our love for the original. And therein lies the problem. The base game without the train board is, in our opinion, the better game, as there's no clear benefit in my mind to sacrificing resources for a one-time bonus that exists behind multiple paywalls. Just spend the resources on contracts instead and you're guaranteed to get victory points that way, yeah? Look, we're happy this expansion exists, right? But for us, only half of it was useful, and we'll probably end up leaving the train board in the box, as the core game has more than enough strategy, which has been proved time and time again over the years since we first played Clans of Caledonia. So there you go. That is Clans of Caledonia, the Industria expansion. Remember, if you are new here, please consider subscribing to this channel. If you're not new here, go and fiddle with the Glaswegian Sporran, and we'll see you next time.